What's up, Bears fans? It is your fearless leader, Ben Schleiger, here with you guys on a new episode of Bear With Us. As you notice, it's just me running solo dolo tonight. Chris and I have tried valiantly to get on the same schedule for the past 2 weeks, and it has been hard because while I have been wearing my dad hat, it was a little bit of a troubling schedule to try to get Wi-Fi and reception and all that jazz while I was putting on my vacation hat for a little bit. So, unfortunately, didn't quite get the schedule ironed out, but we're ready to put our Bears hat back on and get into Bears football. Woof. As Chris would ask me, how are we doing, Bears fans? Woof. It was definitely a week to go check out Crave Barbecue, check out their premium all beef hot dogs, their gorgeous gourmet barbecue, their self pour beer wall. Because after these past couple of weeks, Bears fans have needed and deserved a beer. So, if you need some delicious food, a fun family gathering, or just a theme night out, Crave Barbecue has a great landing spot for you, your family, your friends, your mom, etc. Go down to Crave Barbecue, visit Todd and Heath. Great guys, great food, great atmosphere. Bears fans, let's talk about Bears football. It's been a doozy. I did have the rare opportunity and privilege to join Chris down in Flagstaff for the Northern Arizona game to be able to call Northern Arizona's homecoming as they hosted the UNC Bears. That was a wonderful trip. Appreciations and thank yous to Jacob Govero for letting me go on that trip. Unfortunately, not great circumstances of why I got to fill in. So, Garrett, brother, hats off to you. We miss you. And Jacob, thank you for the opportunity for letting me go down there. It was great to have the Bear Claw boys out there doing a radio broadcast together while it was a little bit choppy as I'm a new fill-in, a new backup, as they like to say. It was a great time. So got to fly down there ourselves, which was a little sketchy with all the flights getting canceled, but we made it work. Team effort. Called the game, but wow, it was not what Bears fans were expecting. These last couple weeks have been rough. There's no way to put it. It's been gritty sandpaper on sensitive areas for sure. Looking at the game, it was kind of rough from the beginning. Put ourselves on a hole. 2 3 and outs, just right off the bat. Bad place to be. Ty Pennington, dangerous quarterback, can't get in a hole early, especially against someone as dangerous and, on a bit of a hot streak. He was absolutely fantastic against us. Sure, we didn't have Ezra Ekubon or Cam Chapa as they were limited and they did not travel with the team that week. So that was rough as Pennington did get to go 20 for 23 for 270 and a touchdown. He was sacked once, thankfully, had a good sack on him, but outside of that, it was tough sledding for the Bears. Ultimately, your ever mighty Bears putting out good contest, staying within a nice healthy margin of 11, that faltered against Montana State greatly. Against NAU, it felt worse. It was the score doesn't reflect as the efforts were. Bears were out there trying for probably about 2.5 quarters, but really that Colby Katzis 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. That dude has speed. That dude has all conference talent. Unfortunately, that was just a horrible place for that to happen in the game, as the Bears really lost all momentum after that. It was a kick in the gut, a kick between the legs. It was any type of kicks you can think of, as we were just our momentum went from, okay, we scored, we're good, we're back in this. We can dig back. Long hike. Bears fans are used to tall mountains, tall orders, and sometimes we're able to fill them. This was not one of those times. It was just demotivated play from then on out. It was dejected football. This is the podcast, so we can talk a little bit more freely than we can on the radio, but it was tough. There was, some bickering on the sideline. There was a little bit of just not good product on the field. I know the coaches are trying their best, and the players are trying their best, but it wears on you. Such a promising, such a fiery start to the season, and it starts to seem a little bit like the story of Icarus and the Bears, as we flew a little bit too close to the conference sun and just have really bitten the bullet the last couple weeks. This was supposed to be the last of a 5-game terror, as the Bears had their hardest part of their strength of schedule, arguably, come through these past 5 weeks. And really, it was tough sledding on the ground. 114 yards on 29 carries, averaging out to 3.6. That's not the golden number. Golden number is 4. Matthias Price, he was trying his best, but he only got 6 carries. He's limited. Brandon Johnson, he got 7 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown. The Bears' only touchdown, so thank goodness for him getting into the touchdown. 5.1 average, great there. But these guys were just not consistently used. It was subbing out all too often on offense. I'll be frank with you, Bears fans. I know a little bit of ball, and I do not understand the amount of substitutions, nor the reason for it, nor the chemistry, nor any of that. And of course, this is not supposed to come out as a negative towards the coaches or players. That I know everybody's trying their best, but really just as a venting session for fans, alumni, just onlookers from throughout the conference and throughout the FCS. I don't understand the offense, Bears. I don't get it. Chris will say there's film out there. I think that's a soft excuse for the offense going just from hot picante sauce to mild ketchup. Like it's uninspired. The lack of imagination or creativity in the offense, and when we do get creative, it puts our players in some sticky spots and some frankly unsafe scenarios. Please, for the love of God, don't do a wheel route screen. Don't do it. Don't have the running back do an arcing screen out to the numbers. They're getting killed. They're getting speared. It looks like a WWE promo out there for the visiting team, for the away team, for the non-Bears, just getting an absolute highlight reel. Quarterbacks struggling, no matter who's in there. We had season starter Peter Costelli in for the NAU game, 3 for 5. One of those was a pick, and it was a very late, very slow ball that was just jumped beautifully. Got about 30 yards on the return on it. I can't even blame the defender one bit. It literally was meant for him. It was not meant for our receiver one bit. Gibson did not throw an interception in this game, but 17 for 28 for 151 yards. Just a very mellow version of him. As Chris likes to say, there's film out there. I get it. Nothing was working, but I feel like some of our targets are just not getting involved, not getting worked into the game as much as they should be. Carver Cheeks had a very quiet game. 4 receptions for 28 yards. It wasn't for a lack of trying. Definitely tried to get him involved and whatnot. Braden Monroe, 4 for 64, was the leader, but 30 of those yards came on one beautiful, seam route along the sideline that was right in front of our booth. Great perspective on it. That was very exciting to be able to call right there. But let's be honest, the rest of his receiving yards was 3 for 34. Not jumping off the page. That being your first receiver on the stats page is concerning. It's hard. So part of the reason we did not hop right on the podcast right now is just Bears football is in that awkward stage of the year where, young guys get chances to step up and take over for guys who are tired, hurt, frustrated, just in their heads and whatnot. This is that awkward time of year where we get to see new guys step up. We see old guys and veterans Some of them shine. Some of them continue to be stoic leaders. Some of them kind of frazzle out and get frustrated, and just the fatigue of the season sits on you like a boulder. And that's just kind of the name of the game. That's just kind of the what football does. As Coach Easton likes to say, you love the game of football, but the game of football doesn't have to love you. It's a toxic relationship where you're gonna love it. It's gonna hurt you. It's gonna steal your time. It's gonna steal your money, and you love it. You love it to death. But it is a unrequited relationship. So as spicy as that is, we'll run into some highlights, some good parts. Braden Monroe getting that 30-yard reception at NAU, big deal. Brandon Johnson getting the lone touchdown, just something to celebrate. That's great. We love the the Jacob Willig field goal. Great. Got a field goal, got into double digits. Again, that's another just kind of relief moment. It doesn't win the game, but it sure makes it hurt a lot less. Being able to say 39-point loss, hey, that is what it is no matter what, but still scored double digits. Good on those guys. Good on everybody who was trying who just didn't have stats that jumped off the page in the NAU game. Looking at the defense, a lot of people had to take on roles and take on assignments that they weren't used to, that they weren't necessarily comfortable with, because Colby Katz is absolute dog, all conference talent. Like, look for him at the end of the year to be in, conversations for different conference awards, and maybe even a little bit of, watch lists for national awards. I wouldn't say that he's going to be a contender in those, but I would say he deserves to be on that watch list for sure. Looking at the defense, Frankie Morales, he was our tackle leader at 11. Daryl Bryant Jr. rounded out number 2, and Evan Harrell called it on the radio. Needed a step-up game from somebody. He was huge. He was flying all over the place. He got a step-up opportunity. Evan really filled in really great. Came in partway through, I believe it was the third quarter. Chris and I had to look and be like, oh man, we don't have that one on our call sheet. That's not on our quick numbers that we do when we're pointing out and scouting players on the plays to make sure everybody gets their recognition during the plays and whatnot on the radio. And junior from Sierra College, originally from Aurora, Colorado, so Cherokee Trail High School. Nice to have a local guy in there, but he stepped up big time. So kudos to Evan Harrell. He was kind of like our moral victory player of the game for sure. McCur Abram got in the backfield and had a tackle for a loss and a sack. He had a huge hit on Ty Pennington that was fantastic. And he was one of those like, well, everybody's gonna come, bark at each other and be like, oh, don't hit my quarterback. Oh, your quarterback was a runner. It one of those jaw jacking scenarios, and it was well worth it. There was a little bit of life in the Bears after that. I believe it was either Dale Bryant Jr. or Evan Harrell that had a nice hit on a receiver a couple plays or a drive later. Really just across the board, nice to see players getting involved. Talking about players getting involved that mean a lot. How great is it to see Miles McClarity on the stat sheet again? Got 2 tackles in there, 1 solo, 1 assisted. Mainly on the kickoff, specialty duties. He did get a little bit of play at, I believe it was the outside corner, outside far side corner, a little bit in the fourth quarter. So nice to see his number on the field. That's great story, as we all know. And Bears fans, check out that episode if you haven't listened to that already from us. Then we moved on to Eastern Washington. This one, Jacob and Chris were in Cheney, and boy, it was a great day to be an Eagle, and bad day to be a Bear. Unfortunately, no matter what the Bears did, it was just not their day. So, shout out Kyler Neal, got that Eastern hat. I'll put that on for this brief segment, just for you, buddy. But Jake Shackle just came out of nowhere. the Eagles have been in quarterback hell a little bit. A lot of the conference has this year. It has not been a unique problem to any degree. But Jake Shackle, true freshman, has really stepped up this past couple weeks. Taken over for a plethora of other combinations that Eastern has tried, and Eastern's had a up and down roller coaster, topsy turvy, disappointing start to the year, and really hot the last couple weeks. This was kind of a game Chris and I had on the schedule of like this is a gettable, this is a winnable game, and man, it never looked like it was competitive for the Bears. It just flat out have to put it out there. It looked like more than tough sledding. It looked just uncoordinated, not it just wasn't it. Wasn't the formula. Didn't seem like players were bought in. Didn't seem like offensively or defensively people were completely focused. Seemed like there was a lot of silly mistakes, a lot of silly assignments missed. Um, Guys getting wide open on corner routes going into the end zone, just being 5-7 yards, blasted by. Sometimes you just get on that play and you get roasted. It happens. But players seem to be open at all of the wrong moments for Bears and all of the right moments for Eastern. As Jacob likes to refer to him, Ewash, or as FCS fans nations, we like to call them Ewoo. But yeah, it was all Eagles. It was tough. Costelli got a lot more playing time in this game. I wouldn't say it was for the better. I wouldn't say it was worth it. I know the dude's coming back from a busted shoulder, and it, he hasn't looked the same. He hasn't looked confident. He hasn't looked um, the same daredevil he was at the beginning of the season and spring practice, and the confident, boisterous leader. The just kind of like big guy on campus. Macho energy. It seemed muted. It seemed reserved in NAU in all of the worst ways. It just sliding down before anybody is anywhere near you instead of trying to throw the ball to anywhere that's safe away from a defender, but not grounding. Like no thought of that in the NAU game. Eastern 3 picks. What are we gonna do here, Bears? It was a rough day for Eric Gibson as well. 13 for 19 for 108, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. It's not the Bears football that we were whooping and cheering for early in the season. It is a frustrated, it is a flustered, it is a flabbergasted fan base that's just like, these guys have talent. These guys have success. They've shown it. They've shown it in games where we didn't necessarily deserve to be in it necessarily. The Idaho game, great concept. Of course, they were at a bit of a down moment in their season there for sure, but Bears rose to the occasion. Great win, great team effort, pulled together, good scheme, good plays, good counters, good improvisations. This last couple weeks have been just dejected football. I hate to go back to that word and be so glum, because there's only so much lipstick we have for 27-7 and 49-10. So there's again, Ulta Beauty only has so much product that we can afford and that we can dress it up with. But what we can do, give some props to players who made a great effort. Looking at it, Brandon Johnson, again, not as many carries as we'd like to see. The ball was spread out a bit more evenly, but again, just like, it was productive running at times, and then there was times where it was just shut down. The 30-yard run, that was awesome. Good job on Brandon Johnson there. Unfortunately, that leaves the rest of his yards at 6 for 13. Tough. Justin Gwynn, hard running that day, 9 for 37. Matthias Price, 8 for 33. Good chunk plays. The top three running backs here all have 30, 11, and 11 as their longs. Even Costelli, he had a good run. He had a 10-yard run, smart run. But looking at this, it's hard to get people involved. It's hard to get excited when things are just so off timing, off the hook of where they should be. So kudos for the Bears for still trying, still being in it, but really there's a lot to clean up in the offseason, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of honest and thoughtfulness that we need to be looking at for recruiting and the transfer portal. As much as Lamb hates it, and let's try to keep the TP until after the Portland game. We'll keep that to the side, but I think that needs to continue to be a tool that we use. There's been some very impactful leaders, but to the flip side, coach has had some very impactful local recruits or guys who were local, went off to different schools, and Lamb, and other company reach out to him and be like, hey, come back to Colorado, family's here, play at a school where you get playing time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all great and dandy. One of those wonderful success stories, Cam Chapa, being an all-conference talent all year long, kind of a pleasant surprise, local product. Johnstown kid who went to Severance, Dom Butts. Just, great name, but also great player. Getting after it, nasty, motivated, aggressive, been great. A little bit of penalties the last couple weeks, I think just because he's been frustrated, just being a couple steps short, just a little slow of a pass breakup or a sack or, causing a turnover even. But overall in the season, great effort, great just aggression, getting in the backfield. We had no idea what to expect. We had a D line that was like, who knows what this is going to be? We're starting with a brand new crop. All 4 starters out the door for whatever other reasons. Graduation, mysterious more eligibility somehow, some way. But great effort on his part, getting on the D line and really making a difference. Across the board, good tackles for a loss, really up to their game from last week. Chapa was available for this game. He did get an interception for 34 yards, did get a pass breakup, really impactful for Bears fans there, so love that. Getting across the board, Leo Blumentritt, been an absolute weapon the last couple weeks. I know not always perfect to have your punter be something that you need to highlight, but at the same time, our punter has been someone to highlight. I think he did a great job at NAU. Looking back at his stats there for punts, he was 4 for 165, long of 47, 1 in the 20, and just he's been electric last couple weeks. So shout out Leo for putting us in a position where we can at least try to climb back. Great job on his part. But Bears fans, I think we're going to wrap it up there. It's 24 minutes for 2 weeks of Bears football. Let's be honest, it's been tough sledding. It's been grind your teeth type moments. It's been, oof, we're going to go get a snack, go get a cold beverage. We're gonna take a lap around the house. We're gonna take a lap around the stadium if you've been able to make it out or make it to an away game. It's been a woof of the last couple weeks. Really, it's been such a high ascension. Just great. Like this could have been a 5-1 team if, let's say, 5 plays go differently. Even 4 plays and a instant replay go differently. We'll drink CSU beer, but we will not be happy with CSU for the next couple years. We know that was a Bears win, so kudos. We got a moral victory, but Bears fans, let's get a real victory. Let's get a nice little nightcap to the season. Let's end on a positive note. Last game in Greeley. This Saturday is going to be a noon game. Nice early game. Nice early start for the Bears. Get there early. Get your hot dogs. Get out there. Support the Bears. These guys deserve it. It's been a weird season, but it's been much improved. 3-8 at this point, 1-6 in conference. It doesn't tell the whole story. Shadron, crazy game. Our starter gets hurt for 4 to 6 weeks. We're told the season ends up being 4 to 6 weeks, and he comes back later in the season and just looks different. We'll put it that way. Just different. Not himself for sure. Colorado State, that should have been a win. Always and forever in my book, that'll be 23-21 Bears. Yeah, we'll try to not lament on that as much as we do, but that instant replay was not as heinous as this past week, which we will talk about on Beyond the Den in the Idaho Sacramento State. But gosh, same level of screw job. We'll say that, and we'll move on. South Dakota, what an ascension the last couple weeks. A team that was such a disappointment, such a undeserving 12th ranked team at the time, and the Bears took them to overtime. And a couple things could have went differently. It could have swung in the Bears' favor. It didn't. We'll take that one as just it was a loss. A couple things could have changed, and it might not have been, but that ultimately was an overtime loss, and then we got an overtime win. It should have been that close, but we did kind of let the reins out, kind of tested what Gibson could do. That was exciting. Got the start of exciting Bears football. Idaho State, let's say there was a bit of coaching mistakes in that game for sure. Ultimately, we got outcoached. That 8-point loss, it was deserving. It was a great effort. So many players tried their ass off in that game. But let's be honest, there was just some procedural decisions, some schematic decisions that just did not make sense and took us out of that one. But we got a great 49-33 win at Idaho in the Kibbe Dome. Just crazy that the Bears were able to go in there and take it to a ranked team, get a ranked win. The Bears have a ranked win and an overtime ranked loss. I know, don't get all hockey on us for sure, because it doesn't count for points in football, but they lost again the next week in an absolute shootout. One that could have went a little different if we were a little bit crisper, a little bit better with our turnovers. That was the start of our turnover slide that went downhill and into a mud hole for sure. So, lost to our receiving votes team. And what are you gonna do? Bears have the 14th hardest schedule according to Massey ratings in the entire FCS. And there's only so much you can do in a barn burner, in a premier, in a cream of the crop type of league as we are. It's probably one of the hardest ascensions possible. And we almost did it. We almost knocked off number 6. It didn't go our way. Kind of got away from us in the late in the third quarter. Could have been a little different there and been a more of a close hold on to your seat type game. But again, a good effort for losing to the 6th best team in the nation. 4th best team in the nation looks like the 4th best team in the nation. Probably higher than that at this point in the season. That was a rough one. 55-7 when the worst loss that we'd had in the season was a previous week at 11 points. That definitely started the slide. Receiving votes, Northern Arizona at the time, we talked about that one. That one got away from us. This Eastern one, just frustrated in our heads. Not where we should be. Portland State, senior day. Let's get some seniors some action. Let's get some guys who haven't seen the field some action. If they're running out of eligibility, if they're, if there's only so much football that they have left in them. Let's get them some time. You know, it hasn't been going our way the last couple of weeks with the starters. So let's at least get the seniors a good win, a good way to hang their helmet for the last time, a good way to make them feel good about something on the season, even if it's just a couple plays, even if it's just, hey, I got out there. Let's have those seniors have those moments. And after the game, Bears fans, go to Crave Barbecue, get your premium all beef hot dogs, get your delicious barbecue. The trio sliders, very good if you can't make up your mind. There's sides. There's a self-tap beer wall. There's board games in the corner. There's comfy chairs right next to the smoked whiskey. Very comfy. Um, Football. There's TV. TV's all around. Nice big restaurant. If you're not that social, you just want to sit in the corner, just work on your work stuff, kind of play on your phone. Big restaurant. Lots of room for everybody of all types. So, Bears fans, not Bears fans, everybody, head on down to Crave Barbecue, say hi to Todd and Heath, tell them that we sent you. Go get some good food. Go get a cold beverage, because whether you drink or not, even a nice ice cold Pepsi might make you feel better after a long day at Nottingham. But let's hopefully we can raise it in cheers for our Bears. And as we cheers a possible win this Saturday, make sure you tell your mom, your friends, everybody about us. Like, subscribe, share. Football season will be coming to a close. We will update football related stuff on Bear With Us as we get it, as things happen throughout the season. We will still follow with the FCS playoffs on Beyond the Den, but football's coming to a close. Basketball's pretty exciting. Undefeated Bears right now. Very gritty win, very gritty overtime win in Pepperdine over, potentially somewhere that Quinn Denker could have ended up. They were trying to recruit him really hard, but UNC won the battle in that one, and Quinn won the battle as a key performer for the Bears in that victory. So, Bears fans, never fear. Football season is coming to a close this Saturday, 4 games, but you have great options with men's and women's basketball. We will cover men's basketball very closely as Pirate Radio, our friend Jacob Govero and Chris Bolin will be on the call for many of those calls, many of the road games as well, as many as they're able to make it out to. So, Bears fans, have a great night, have a great commute, and we'll see you next time, right here.